One in the chat if you like what we're talking about. Today, I want to talk about Sportify Your Success. I guess I should have a copy of my book, Sportify. Okay, for all you people that are interested in sportification. What the heck am I talking about? What is Sportify? Have I lost my mind? Sportify Your Success, okay? The game changing method to multiply your money and to master your life. What is up, Morgan? Happy to see you on the feed. Throw up a number one in the chat, guys. If you want to interact with me, ask questions, have comments, tell jokes, rip on me. I don't care. Compliment me, whatever, man. I'm here for you. Hit me up in the comments. Anyway, I want to talk about this idea of sportification that I have, okay, and that I came up with, and I developed a book. And if you write a book, you do so because you think it's important enough that it needs to be addressed. And I think this is super crucial, super important. Thank you for the number one, Morgan. I appreciate it. So, welcome to another exciting podcast. I am your host, Coach Jake. Today, we are going to dive into something that is going to ignite a passion within you inside, right? We're talking about how do you fuse business and sports? How do you integrate them? In my case, wrestling and business. Now, clearly, a lot of you guys know that I have three companies. One of them is in the wrestling space, in particular, training grapplers, wrestlers for MMA and grappling. Okay? It's called Scientific Wrestling. So, of course, that has a business aspect, but I'm flipping the script. I'm saying, instead of like, how can we use business to help wrestling? How can we use sports to help your business? Right? That's what I want to talk about. How can you become a legend? Because you put points on the board, but these aren't points on a scoreboard. These are points in a checking account, spendable points, right? And I really want to emphasize a focus on a few simple concepts. One is focusing on winning, that winning is important. In fact, it's the most important thing. It's important at a biological level, like evolution, like Darwin, okay? Winning. Two, and this goes along with this as well, is resilience. And man, I got that in spades and I want to talk about it. Resilience. And three, leadership. Another thing that I think that I could share some insight on, and I'd love to get your feedback on. Okay? So buckle up because we are going to, this is going to be more transformative than Optimus Prime, hopefully. So you've heard me talk about the Sportify method before. It's about taking the elements of sports, the discipline, the teamwork, the striving for excellence, and applying them in a business context for growth, for professional development. This is one of the things that I have come to find, especially as I delve deeper and deeper into my own personal brand, the importance of professional development. This is what I do for the software company that my wife and I run. I think it's absolutely crucial because you got to develop people professionally. I do that with the affiliate program for Scientific Wrestling. I do that with Number One Coaching. I also do that with revenue engineering. What's up, Luis? Happy to see the King catch San Diego tuning in. So I want to focus on this idea of taking elements from sport and applying it to business so that you can actually make a lot of money and generate wealth for your family so that maybe your kids won't have to even buy a house, because right now I know I have young kids, they're being priced out of the market. My generation might be the last generation that's actually able to afford a house because of the disconnect between wages and prices. It's crazy. So sportification, right? Sportification is this concept that I actually took from the idea of gamification. I started studying this idea of gamification, which is where you take game elements and you apply them in a business context. So you've seen this. badges, points, leaderboards, things of this nature. These are the game elements that people have applied that you could see in board games, video games, any kind of game, and put them into a business context to make people more engaged. Well, the problem is that they find in the research is that this is a method of motivation, right? What does motive mean? It means to cause movement, like motion, motivation, to cause somebody to do something. And so you hear all this stuff about like motivational speakers. You listen to Tony Robbins or Gary Vee or something, and you get jazzed up, and all of a sudden you're cleaning your house or picking up the phone and doing sales calls. Grant Cardone, right? That's crucial. But the problem with gamification is they've split the academics, and I cover this in depth in this book. It's not a huge book. It's not expensive. You can pick it up at Amazon. DM me. I will get you the link. It's super duper affordable. It might be even free on Kindle. I'm not sure. Depends if you're a subscriber to Kindle. But the idea was, okay, in motivation, there's a split, what they call internal motivation and external. Extrinsic is the actual term they use, and intrinsic. But it's basically like, are you motivated by stuff, by things like points, badges, leaderboards, black belts, prizes, or do you do it anyway? Regardless if you get the points or the badge or the belt, do you just show up? Right? So we can look at an analogy between, say, somebody who's a lifelong boxing practitioner and somebody who's a martial artist. Fair? Or wrestling. Because the thing is there's a lot of people that participate in wrestling, but there's only a few by design that actually walk away with the gold belt. However, in martial arts, everybody gets a belt, right? So, and this isn't to reduce the efficacy or the importance of martial arts, but basically we're talking about participation trophies, things that get people motivated, right? So they found that gamification had limits, that people would only get so motivated by these external motivations. And that for the people that really went the extra mile, it took internal motivation. And this is why I said gamification is limited, and I call this Sportify Beyond Business Gamification. That's the name of the book, Beyond Business Gamification. That's what sportification does. And it does it primarily by taking elements from sports that are missing in games and applying them in a business context. Does that make sense? I hope that does. Okay, so I want to talk about what it takes, right? What it takes. The difference, one of the biggest elements that I see that's different in sportifying something versus gamifying it is the element of coaching. You don't find a lot of games where you're coached. Does this make sense? But in sports, you get a coach, and that is where a lot of the intrinsic motivation comes from, is that you have somebody actually rooting for you, somebody whose interest is in you winning, right? And this is what a coach really does. And so I want to talk about it, right? Let's, for a moment, just use your mind. I want you to think, I want you to imagine about if you could take like the aggression, the drive, take sportsmanship as well. Okay. So I'm not talking like nasty aggressiveness. I'm talking in a sporting context to win. Sportsmanship, aggression, hard work, and the winning spirit, right? Let's take that from wrestling. That is the whole point. You don't step on the mat to lose. You step on, you're betting on yourself. You're like, I want to do this. I want to win. And maybe you don't, and you get up and you do it again anyway, right? But let's say, what if we took that same spirit, that sporting spirit, the sportsmanship, aggression, all of that, and we applied it to your career? We applied it to you as a business person, right? Then we start seeing it in a different light. And maybe we see it in a light that we never saw before that actually motivates us internally to be relentless, to be responsible and reliable, to make sacrifices. How many times have you made a sacrifice for your job? Really? I mean, in the way that you would make sacrifices if you were running a 10K. How many times have you really made it important to win in your business, in your job, for your profession? This is what I am asking with regards to this concept of sportifying, right? So imagine a situation. This is what I would like to do, and this is what I talk about in sportification, in Sportify. Not only are we going to add coaching instead of managing, we're not going to be managers, we're going to be coaches. I really learned a lot about this from a book called It's the Manager, Moving from Boss to Coach by the Gallup organization, those guys that do all the statistics and the polls. And they did a big poll and they found that the problem was that these managers are not actually getting the most out of the employees. And that's the biggest problem facing businesses in terms of reaching their goals, especially including revenue goals. So I would like to take those elements from sports, apply them into business, and then also add physicality. I know this is crazy, but I believe that being physical is absolutely crucial because I look at it as a form of personal development. You need to be involved in some sort of sport to start developing this hunger for winning, this understanding of teamwork in a different context. So imagine, right? We would have morning grappling sessions, afternoon business training, and then in the evening we would do business networking over a great dinner and a dinner party. That is what I'm talking about. A fully integrated life through this Sportify method. Does that make sense? Okay, if I'm losing you guys, hit me up in the chat. Feel free to DM me. Again, I will send you the link to the book. It's a little academic. My writing when I do nonfiction tends to toward the academic a little bit. That's just my own training. Now, what I'd like to see is I'd like to, and I'm planning on implementing. This is where what I'm doing right now is a little bit of market research with you guys. So I appreciate any feedback that you'll share with me. My aim is to start developing these kind of boot camps. And what I'd love to do is as the Sportify movement grows, we integrate more and more lessons from assorted sports. So for me, my bias, because of my experience, would be in grappling and martial arts, wrestling and martial arts. What are the lessons that we can apply? But I guarantee you there's lessons from lacrosse, basketball, football, soccer, all of these, baseball, all these fantastic sports, fencing. There's so much to be learned about how to win in one context from another context. This would be sportification is truly a multidisciplinary study of human performance. However, the aim is a business aim, and the aim of business is to produce value, to increase the value of whatever product or service you offer to other people and to do so in a sporting context, right? So my vision would be to be running at the beginning these camps where we host different athletes and business leaders and build up this Sportify movement, right? The next phase of this would be to actually implement a Sportify process, a certification process where a business could be Sportify certified, meaning they've gone through the training process. And if you go and you see that Sportify seal, you know that when you go and work for this company, and we know that right now there's a problem hiring people. To me, I think that the way you solve this, a lot of times people think it's money motivated, and money is important. Like I said, Gen Z will not be able to afford housing. They're going to have to rent. This is a huge problem in terms of amassing wealth. However, in addition to the wealth equation, and in addition to having money be a part of it, people need purpose and they want to feel that they are developing professionally. Professional development always ranks as one of the most important things that a company can do to retain and attract quality individuals. That's what my aim is here. So we would start with these camps to start developing this program and this idea. I already have a fantastic foundation that I've worked out, but I want other people's wisdom to come into the system from other sports and other businesses. Then we develop the sportifying certification, sportification, and we can give that seal to companies that implement this. This, in my mind, would be amazing. We would have, for example, a program that transforms managers into coaches, a huge shift in business. I don't know a single little kid who, when he's a little baby, says, hey, somebody asks him, what do you want to do when you grow up? And he goes, oh, I want to be managed. I don't know anybody who's got that. But a lot of little kids want to be professional athletes, and that means being coached. Okay, so this, I believe, is the future. Personally, I believe in this in the heart of hearts. It's why I spent so much time putting together this idea over the years and integrating these ideas. So all of this would come together under Sportify, the Sportify method, right? It's about always learning, about conditioning ourselves to be resilient. So when something like lockdowns happen, we don't just quit, or we don't just tap out, we don't just get pinned. We fight. We fight to get back up on our feet again. It's also about effective communication because, now wrestling and combat sports tend to be um, individual sports. However, that's a very limited way to look at things because you do have a team. So even a guy who's a wrestler, he has teammates. You have a team. Let's consider you're going to Iowa or Oklahoma or something. You have a room full of guys that you train with that make you better. You have a coach. You have nutrition coaches. You have people that are working there. You have a full team, and you need to be able to communicate, right? So what I would like you guys to consider is stepping into the ring, step between the ropes, and give this idea a test. Test it out and see if it works for you. Does it make sense? Now, if you guys have questions, you have concerns, you have ideas, let me know. Of course, if I can help you, I will help you. I am going to, if you DM me, DM Sportify, I will send you the link. In fact, if I get 100 people to DM me, I will actually start sending out the PDF and you won't even have to buy it because I want you guys to read it. But that means you're going to have to actually DM me. And if you don't get a PDF, you know why. So that means maybe ask a few other people. I am very, very proud of this book. Again, Sportify, Beyond Business Sportification. And it takes all my life's research in terms of sports performance, studying the very best. That's why I call my company number one, is I always study the very best in every field and try to extrapolate the best and most effective learnings from them. That's what this is about, sportification. So I appreciate you guys. I hope you do join me on this journey of research and improvement, professional and personal development. Again, hey, what's up, Marco? Thanks for the number one. I appreciate you, buddy. Um, Guys, I am here for you. Let me know. Hit me up in the DMs. I'm going to take care of you. All right. Appreciate you guys.